Imagine a world where disease was a total mystery, where your food could spoil for no reason, and where having surgery was often a death sentence. That was the world of the 19th century. Our hero today is Louis Pasteur, born in 1822 in a small French village. He was a man whose incredible dedication to chemistry would pull humanity out of the dark ages of medicine. Pasteur wasn't even a doctor to begin with. He was a chemist. His career got a surprising start from studying crystals. He solved a baffling puzzle with something called tartaric acid, proving that molecules could exist as mirror images of each other. This was a huge discovery in a field called stereochemistry. This early win taught him something vital. With careful observation and precision, you could uncover the invisible truths of nature. His meticulous, almost military-like approach to research quickly made him a rising star in French science. Soon, Pasteur's focus shifted from pure chemistry to something at the very heart of France's economy: its wine and beer. Brewers and winemakers were constantly dealing with spoilage that ruined huge batches of their products, and nobody knew why. The common belief back then was a strange idea called spontaneous generation, the theory that life could just pop out of nowhere, like mold growing on old bread. Pasteur thought this was completely illogical. To prove his point, he designed his now legendary swan neck flask experiments. He would boil a broth inside a flask to sterilize it, but the flask had a long, curved neck. This S-shaped tube allowed air to get in, but it trapped any airborne dust and microbes in its lower bend. The broth inside remained perfectly clear and sterile, indefinitely. But, the moment he broke the neck off, or tilted the flask to let the trapped dust touch the broth, it would quickly become cloudy with life. He had proven, without a doubt, that life doesn't just spontaneously appear. Instead, tiny living organisms floating in the air microbes were responsible for fermentation and, more importantly, spoilage. This wasn't just some academic discovery. It had huge industrial implications. He came up with a practical solution: heating liquids like wine and milk, just enough to kill the harmful microbes without ruining the taste. He called this process pasteurization. It saved the French beer and wine industries, and gave the world a safe, reliable way to enjoy milk and other dairy products. Pasteur's big idea, that invisible organisms cause spoilage, was soon applied to the biggest challenge of all: disease. He became the champion of the germ theory of disease, arguing that specific germs cause specific illnesses. This was revolutionary. Most doctors at the time still blamed sickness on imbalances in the body, or something they called bad air, or miasma. This idea led to immediate, practical changes, especially in surgery. A British surgeon named Joseph Lister was directly inspired by Pasteur's germ theory. He pioneered the use of antiseptic techniques, like spraying carbolic acid to sterilize surgical tools and clean wounds. The results were astounding and immediate. Death rates from infections after surgery plummeted. Pasteur's work in chemistry had gone from saving milk to saving human lives. Next, Pasteur turned his attention to vaccination. While Edward Jenner had already created a smallpox vaccine, no one really understood how it worked. While studying a disease called chicken cholera, Pasteur made a crucial observation. He noticed that old weakened cultures of the bacteria didn't make the chickens sick. Instead, those chickens became immune and were protected when later exposed to fresh, deadly doses. He realized that a weakened version of a germ could actually train the body's defenses to fight it off. In honor of Jenner's work with cowpox, vacca is Latin for cow. He named this weakened preparation a vaccine. Pasteur's final and most dramatic battle was against rabies, a disease that was universally feared because it was always fatal. He worked tirelessly to create a vaccine using the dried spinal cords of infected rabbits. Then, in 1885, he faced the ultimate test of his science and his conscience. Pasteur wasn't a licensed doctor and knew he was taking a massive legal and moral risk, but he agreed to treat the boy with his experimental rabies vaccine. It was a terrifying 2-week ordeal involving 13 separate injections, but it worked. Joseph Meister survived. It was a spectacular triumph for science and a profound moment for humanity, proving we could conquer the microscopic threats that had tormented us for millennia. Louis Pasteur died in 1895, honored as a national hero of France. He was a scientist, a practical inventor, and a brilliant communicator who completely changed our relationship with the unseen world. His legacy isn't just the germ theory. It's the entire principle of using rigorous scientific investigation to improve public health. He showed us that by looking closely, thinking carefully, and fighting fiercely, we could win the invisible war against disease. So, what do you think is the biggest invisible threat to our health today that needs a new Pasteur to solve it? Let us know in the comments below. If this story about a scientific savior fascinated you, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the figures who changed our world. Thanks for watching.